Hi, and welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to be making my own version of an Italian chili crisp, and I'm going to be comparing it to the Chinese version. So, let's go! And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be cutting up some dried tomatoes. I'm just going to chop these up kind of fine so they fry up nicely. The tomatoes are going to add a little bit of umami and a little bit of sweetness and tartness, but not too much. We're going to be slicing up some red onion. We're only going to use half the red onion because I don't have that much Italian chilies left, and otherwise the ratio would be off. We're just going to slice it real thin so it fries up nice and gives that crispy onion flavor you want. And for the garlic, I went with 3.5 cloves. In hindsight, I could have gone heavier on the garlic because I could taste it, but I would like some more. I just crushed them, took the root end off, and minced them, but not too finely because I didn't want them to burn, so I kept them a little bit on the chunkier side. And the rosemary, I've got some fresh rosemary in my garden. It's been raining a lot in the Netherlands, so it's doing very well. I'm just gonna pluck it and just leave it like that, so whole rosemary in there. Just chuck it all in the pan, add the onions and some oil. I use about 250 milliliters of oil right there, but I later added like 80 mils more, so you might want to do that in this stage as well, because I had to go back and put more in. And for the ingredients we're not going to be frying, such as the chili and the dry thyme and the porcini mushrooms you see right there, I'm just gonna prepare them, so I'm gonna cut it finely so it kind of disappears in the chili crisp later, and that's all there is. And because I'm cooking outside today, I'm going to be using a Coleman, which is kind of different than your inside stove, but it's a nice challenge and it gives kind of camping vibes, which is fun. Just light it the old way with flint and steel, just like this. And in the beginning it doesn't burn very well. As you can see, the fire is kind of orange yellowy, but after a while it gets blue and burns better. Just gonna put the pan on there, the rosemary and the onions, and let that go for a bit. And after 10 minutes of light frying, it's gonna look a little bit like this, and that's when I decided to put in the garlic. I didn't put it in with the onions because the onions need a little bit more time than the garlic do. And after a few minutes you can put in your whole black peppercorns and whole fennel seeds. I decided to leave these whole because after they're fried they're gonna crunchy and give a nice pop. I also put in some bay leaves in previously, but I didn't show that, but they're in there. Just stir them up and let them go for a while. And a few minutes later I put in the dried tomatoes, because these need to fry off as well because they have a lot of moisture. After 20 to 25 minutes of light frying, it's gonna look something like this. You can see it's become a little red because of the tomatoes. You can barely see it, but I strained them and reserved the crispy bits and separated it from the oil. And all the other ingredients I combined in this bowl. So the dried thyme, the porcini, and the chilies are in there, the two different kinds of chilies. And this is the moment I realized I had too little oil. So later on I put like 80 milliliters more oil on there. So just so you know. So I heated a little bit extra oil, and here is where I'm adding it to the chili. And on to the last and easiest part, the mixing. Now we're just gonna put in the crispy bits, the onion, the fennel seeds, the garlic, and we're gonna add a little bit of honey for sweetness because it kind of needs it to balance out the spice. And I'm also gonna be adding a little bit of salt. I'm not gonna be adding too much salt. This is just to bring out the flavors. And if you're gonna use this on a dish that's already kind of salty, you don't want to be over salting it with the chili crisp. So this is just for flavor purposes. And then just mix it. And when everything is combined, you of course have to taste it for seasoning. Does it need a little bit more sweetness? Does it need a little bit of sourness or a little bit more salt? But I can tell you, this was super good. It gets an off-screen thumbs up, so you know it's very good. And now you just have to jar it and store it for a long time. The day after it's gonna be even better, but you can keep this stuff in your pantry for weeks, but I'm assuring you, it won't last weeks. It will last days maximum, because this is so good. But for the final verdict, if I had to choose between the Italian chili crisp or the store-bought Chinese chili crisp, I would definitely choose the Italian one. It tastes so good, but of course it's homemade, so it's not really fair. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye!